Nancy Davis Reagan served as First Lady from 1981 to 1989. Originally being a Broadway actress, Nancy then had to transition into being the widow of the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan. She is most remembered for her passionate advocacy for decreasing drug and alcohol abuse. A quote by Nancy, "My life really began when I married my husband." In the 1950s, she happily gave up an acting career for a permanent role as the wife of Ronald Reagan and mother to their 2 children. Her story actually begins in New York City, where she was born on July 6, 1921. When Nancy was 6 years old, her mother Edith, a stage actress, married Dr. Loyal Davis, a neurosurgeon. He adopted Nancy, and she grew up in Chicago. She received her formal education at Girls Latin School and at Smith College in Massachusetts. This is where she majored in theater. After graduation, she became a professional actress. She toured with a road company, then landed a role on Broadway in the hit musical Lute Song. After a few more parts, one performance drew Hollywood attention. Billed as Nancy Davis, she performed in 11 films from 1949 to 1956. In 1949, she performed in East Side, West Side. In 1950, Shadow on the Wall. And also in 1950, The Next Voice You Hear. She met Ronald in 1951, and the following year they were married. They married in a simple ceremony in Los Angeles in the Little Brown Church in the Valley. Mrs. Reagan soon retired from making movies so she could be, in quote, "the wife I wanted to be. A woman's real happiness and real fulfillment come from within the home with her husband and children, her daughter Patricia Ann and her son Ronald Prescott." While her husband was governor of California from 1967 to 1975, she worked with many charity groups such as Veterans, working with the elderly, and also helping out with the emotionally and physically handicapped. She gave her support to the foster grandparent program, which was the subject of her 1982 book, To Love a Child. As I previously mentioned, she has also been working on the fight against drug and alcohol abuse among young people. She has also visited prevention and rehabilitation centers, and in 1985, she held a conference at the White House for First Ladies of 17 countries to focus international attention on this problem. Now, living in a retirement in California, she continues to work on her campaign to teach children to just say no to drugs. Through the joys and sorrows of being the First Lady, including the assassination attempt on her husband, Nancy held close to her belief in love, honesty, and selflessness. Now it's time for questions on Nancy Davis Reagan with Marilyn Nealis. Did you believe Nancy Davis Reagan was a good First Lady? Why or why not?
She was a good First Lady, but I really didn't care for her personally. She did a lot of good as far as drugs and for the poor, but as far as a personal, I just didn't care for her.
How was she in the public eye?
Well, according to the majority of the people, she wasn't a very personable person. She did a lot of good, but she still just wasn't that well liked. Not like some of the other First Ladies.
Do you believe that she was truly genuine to the charities that she promoted and supported?
I do believe Mrs. Reagan was behind all her charities, really 100%. Whatever she did do, she believed in.